Law enforcement officers in Utah say they've kept hundreds of pounds of drugs from reaching Utah streets and charged 32 people allegedly involved with a gang.
Fox 13's Spencer Joseph is live with what this latest bust means for those struggling with addiction. Spencer.
Bob, Kelly, and let's put this into perspective. The largest percentage of this bust, as well as the #1 trafficked drug on the streets of Utah right now, is methamphetamines. Now, to put this particular bust into perspective, the special agent in charge of the DEA in Utah says this is one of the top 3 busts he's seen in his time there.
We are very pleased to be here today to be able to announce the removal of significant amounts of drugs from our streets.
32 alleged members of the Norteños gang have been charged with trafficking over 420 pounds of meth, 50 pounds of heroin, and thousands of fentanyl pills, as well as money and drugs through the Salt Lake Valley.
When these prosecutors are on the case, it's game over for the criminal enterprise.
Authorities say the local gang works with cartels in Mexico to move the drugs throughout our community.
The #1 drug being trafficked right now in Utah is meth.
This bust highlighting the bigger problem Utah has with methamphetamines.
2020, our office seized over 300 pounds of meth. This case, you'll look at over 400 pounds of meth.
I've been homeless, I've been incarcerated, in and out of prison. I was addicted to meth for 15 years. It kills the person you are inside for sure. AJ
Collette is a recovering meth addict, and when asked what his perspective on this bust is.
I think honestly the biggest takeaway is that people's lives are going to be saved.
Not only because of the usage, but the violence as well.
When I started doing meth, I became extremely violent. I'd rob people to feed my addiction. I thought everyone was out to get me, so I carried a gun or a knife. I just became really violent. It just does something to you. It changes you.
There's more violent crime tied to meth than there is any other narcotic.
It's not just the gang that becomes dangerous, it becomes the addict.
Cartels moving drugs in Utah has marked a concerning trend.
And I was in metro gangs in the 90s. Meth was there, but it was all local.
The Mexican cartels see an opportunity, and they've jumped on that opportunity.
So with this bust, law enforcement hopes
it sends a message to Mexico.
But for the addict that's buying these drugs on the street, AJ Collette has this message.
Man, like my worst possible day that I could ever have today is still a million times better than my best day when I was using drugs. The ATF, the DEA, the IRS, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the U.S. Marshal's Office, the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office, and the Unified Police Department are just some of the agencies that came together on this, saying that the local, state, and federal partnership specifically on this case is one of the best they've ever seen. Live in downtown Salt Lake City, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News.